Over the years, our family's had its share of health problems.
So prescriptions are a part of our life.
Before we went to the big box store.
We both thought it would help us save. But with the long lines and impersonal service, filling prescriptions became a chore. That's when a friend recommended D&H.
Now Tristan knows our prescriptions. Brenda always helps us find the right vitamins. And after Dad's fall, Monica's been a real expert with all our home medical needs. All without the lines.
Trust and service.
That's our D&H.
Good morning and welcome to Radio Friends on Thursday, June the 16th. Pleasure to have you with us today. We're going to talk about something that really is not that much of a pleasure to hear, but it is important. Sean Spence is with us, Mid-Missouri Better Business Bureau. Good to have you here,
Thank
Sean.
you, Paul.
And we're going to talk about scams that are going on, not somewhere else, but right here, and it happens all the time. Now, something that has been in the news lately is the skimmer. Are they called shimmers or skimmers?
They're called skimmers.
Skimmers. A
They're
credit
called
card or ATM skimmers.
Skimmer, that's right.
What happens there?
Well, it's a device. It's just basically a plastic thing that somebody sticks on an ATM machine or on a gas pump. And it looks kind of like the gas pump or the ATM machine. And you walk up and you put your credit card in it to get your money or get your gas or whatever.
So wait a minute. You go up to the regular gas pump.
Yes.
That you always go to.
Yes.
But somebody could have placed a skimmer
Yes,
there.
a piece of plastic over the top that is technology. And what comes back is it says out of order, but while it's telling you that it's out of order, it has stolen your credit card information. And then they've got your credit card information.
And that's it.
That's it.
You can't it's not going to give you gas.
No, you're not going to get your gas. But what you'll do is you'll say, oh, this one's out of order. You'll go to the one right next door, because we've all been at a gas pump that's out of order.
Yeah, that's happened.
Or an ATM that's out of order, and you just go to the next one, and it's no big deal. You never think about it again. And while you're not thinking about it, they're spending your money.
Okay, but the important thing to keep in mind here is if it is a credit card, you're not going to be liable for that, right? Is it the first $50 or does the credit card company take care of it all?
Honestly, if you report it, then most of the time you're going to get all of your money back.
All right. But if you're using an ATM card or a debit card,
Yes.
you could end up having your entire bank account
Yes.
wiped out, your
Yeah.
savings, your checking account.
Yes, and it can be much harder to impossible to get that money back.
So what is the solution here? Don't use the debit card at gas stations.
Well, and in this case, you would use a higher traffic gas station because, I mean, the issue is if somebody's watching, then nobody's going to walk up and install a skimmer. So you would use one of the higher traffic ones. When you're using an ATM, go to a bank ATM, not an ATM at a convenience store. And you're just really not going to have to worry about if it's a high traffic area.
Okay, so you're saying that if you use your ATM card at your bank, that you're probably 99.9%
Yes.
okay.
We've really, I don't know of a single report that we received from a skimmer on somebody's bank ATM machine. It's always at a convenience store or somewhere out of the way.
Now, I want you to tell the story, and you won't tell what the local business was, but a local business was defrauded out of $11,000 recently.
This is a tough story, Paul, but we tell it, and this really just happened within the last few weeks. We tell the story because so often we think about scams just happening to people maybe who are older or just happening to people who maybe aren't as smart, but this happened to somebody who's very successful. Many of your viewers are going to know this person, has a great business they built themselves, and what happened? He was sitting at his desk, and he got an email from his business partner that said, would you please go to the bank right now and wire $11,000 to our customer. Didn't give more specifics than that, just we got to have this $11,000 wired right away. I'm stuck in a meeting, I can't do it. The guy had wired money before. It wasn't an insane request. It was something that was not unexpected. He got up from his desk. He drove to the bank. He wired $11,000. Nobody figured out what had happened until 3 or 4 days later when the other partner looked at the bank account and said, where'd our $11,000 go? It happens all the time. This specific kind of scam over the last 10 years has lost over $2.3 billion for American companies.
Now, we're all familiar with receiving emails from, you think it's from someone you know, and it'll say that, this happened to me. It'll say, Paul, I'm out of town right now. My purse was stolen. All my identification is stolen, and I need some help. Can you wire $500 to this whatever it is?
That's right.
This
Here's
address.
the information.
Well, it just so happened that the person that I supposedly got the email from, I knew she was not out of town because I had talked to her just a couple of days ago. And I called her house and I said, hey, what are you doing in, I forgot, I think it was Hong Kong or somebody. She said, I'm not. I said, well, you just sent me an email saying that your purse was stolen and you needed this money. She had 5 or 6 calls already that morning from other people. So apparently her computer was infected.
Yes.
And they got into her address book and just sent out blanket emails to people who were in her address book.
But to people who she knew and were not surprised to get an email from her. Some of them, like you, had the information that would not allow you to follow up on that, but somebody else might have sent the money. You know, keep in mind, when people are doing these kinds of scams, they're sending hundreds and thousands of emails every day, or they're making hundreds of calls a day, and they don't care that 99.9% of the people are not going to fall for it. They're playing the numbers game, and they're looking for that tiny percentage that will fall for it.
Okay. We're almost out of time, but tell us about the post-tax day IRS scam.
Well, this is important. You know, we all filed our taxes within the last couple of months, and the number one scam in the United States are IRS-related scams, and we're in the middle of the season for it. You might get a phone call, you might get an email that says, hey, you just filed your taxes, you owe an additional $15,000, and you need to pay that right away or we're sending the sheriff to your house. That it literally is something like that. You might get, I've talked to people who've received 3 calls in a week like this. And I've talked to people who have done it, who have paid the...
They've done it?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, keep in mind the IRS is not going to do that. They will send you a letter first. They'll send you a letter. They're not going to call you on the phone and say, you pay me right now with a credit card or we're going to arrest you.
This will never happen. But hundreds of millions of dollars are lost every year from people who then say, oh yes, I don't want to be in trouble. Here's my $5,000 or whatever it is, and they pay with a credit card over the phone. Or they rush down to the wherever and wire it to a bank account in Atlanta or wherever.
Okay. If people want more information, can they go to the website, Better Business Bureau website? What
Absolutely. midmobbb.org.
Okay. Sean Spence, all of you, you're interesting, really interesting. Will you come back again?
Anytime you want, Paul.
All right, Sean. Thank you so much for coming by. Tomorrow we've got the Missouri Association for Community Action and the Olivet Christian Church annual barbecue. If there's something that you would like to hear or see, I'd love to hear from you. Drop me an email. That's pepperp@missouri.edu. And have yourself a good afternoon. Bye-bye.